Hello and welcome to episode 51 of the Championship Rounds podcast. Bit of a weird week. A week that I found very strange. I haven't really enjoyed this week. I didn't enjoy anything to do with this fight. I don't. I'm just gonna get it straight off the bat. I couldn't watch that main event last night. I didn't want to watch it. I felt weird about it all week. I felt weird about it since it was made, and just the whole thing. This fight has just brought together everything that I hate about the sport. Like you've got, it's first of all it's dangerous. You've got a ped cheat. You've got a drug cheat in there with somebody that's blatantly weight drained with a weight clause on the day of the fight. You've got fighters from different weights fighting for no particular reason. You've got like sparring stories being brought up throughout the week for people that aren't even involved in the fight week, aren't even in the country, that aren't even here. You've got all this lies about ticket sales. You got Billy Joe Saunders running around racially abusing managers. You've got managers and promoters and people trying to fight each other. You've got assaults at press conferences. You've got all this stuff. And then what really sort of broke me with this fight, I see a legend of this sport. We've all got our relationships with this sport. We've all got our opinions on this sport, but you see a legend of this sport in Chris Eubank Sr., who's mentally ill. He is a mentally ill individual. He's was in a mental hospital not so long ago. Lost his son not so long ago. His son died. Another one of his sons had a rape case go through the courts, and he got not guilty on that case, but it's still went through the courts for about a year. He's had a strange relationship with Chris, and it's just to see him paraded round for people to almost laugh at and mock, and I couldn't do it. And you see these media people peddling this relationship with his son. It's a charity walk for somebody that Chris Eubank Sr. rendered permanently disabled in the boxing ring in a fight with a stupid weight as well, because that was a super middleweight fight and they weighed in at 164 against Michael Watson. And I couldn't do it. I saw it all and I just couldn't watch that main event last night. And I hate everything about that fight. I hate the media refusing to actually ask about the PD tests. I hate the media refusing to actually put pressure on. I hate the British Boxing Board control for blatantly just refusing to acknowledge their rules around weights. That fight shouldn't have been allowed to happen due to the sauna use that was clear, that was posted online. You know, John Real Casemiro was stripped of a world title for that. Let's not forget. And I just couldn't watch it. I hated everything that's wrong about this sport. The meaningless fight that leads nowhere came to a head. And it's just, this isn't WWE, it's a real sport. People get hurt in this sport. People die in this sport. Everybody involved in that fight knows that. And I couldn't bring myself to watch it in the end. And yeah, so apparently it's a good fight, but I'm just tired. I'm tired of this whole Eubank Benn thing. I'm tired. It's been 3 years now, and I've just had enough of it. I can't. I'm just fed up, man. And the characters involved in British boxing and surrounding this fight, I'm just tired of everything. I'm tired of it all, and I can't deal with this sort of thing for much longer, man. This sport, we're meant to forget all of this stuff because apparently it's a decent little scrap, and it was a good fight or whatever. Like no, like these things are real. These things are affecting people. Like, just put yourself in the position of Eubank Senior being paraded around like that. You're clearly mentally ill. Imagine that was your dad. Imagine that was your brother. A clearly mentally ill man being paraded around like that. I just couldn't do it. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that fight. But yeah, you two that have actually managed to watch that fight, you can discuss it. But yeah, I couldn't do it.
I agree. I didn't really like the gimmick of this fight. Like it was forced. Like we said in the preview, if their last names weren't Eubank and Benn, then this wouldn't have been thought as a fight, considering they are 2 to 3 weight classes away from each other. But uh, yeah, it was an entertaining fight. The card was not good, even though there's supposed to be some matchups on there that was supposed to be good. It was disappointing. Uh, yeah, for the main event, I didn't really feel comfortable. Like I watched it because I'm unfortunately just gonna watch, but like all of it, everything to do with boxing. I'll watch some random Facebook stream in the Philippines. If it's boxing, I'm gonna watch it. But I'm not gonna lie and say I wasn't uncomfortable when I seen Eubank, who had a reputation for having an iron chin, like not even 2 to 3 years ago, was getting hurt like constantly in the fight by someone who notoriously does not punch like super hard, like pre Algieri, Vargas, all those fights that Ben had where he probably was on something, or he wasn't punching through people. He wasn't hurting hurting people as nearly as much as he did in recent years. And to see him hurt Eubank again, someone who has one of the best chins of the last 10 years, he almost got dropped numerous times. So yeah, that's sometimes I got a little uncomfortable, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, like I couldn't bring myself to it. Like I watched the undercard and I just like I don't know, I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch that fight with the connotations of what was happening around the whole event. I couldn't do it. I and like yeah, I can sort of imagine how that fight would go. I can I can sort of see it in my head, and I just yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do it.
I watched. I don't know, when did I turn it off? Round 9 or something. I turned it off because sleep is important, and I didn't care about the fight. Like at that point, I don't know. I had Eubank winning. I think. I don't know, I didn't really score it till today, but I did score and I had Eubank. Pretty clear winner. Well, anyway, tangent. The thing about like all these media guys, they just go along, they don't ask like tough questions. The problem is that if they do and they go against them, they'll get like stopped from like coming, and I guess that's not good. Like you see, they stop boxing scene from coming because they're actually not being biased and not
But
sucking up to everyone.
there's that I get like, and then there's
But
doing
yeah,
that, and then there's clearly exploiting a mentally ill man on a charity walk for somebody that he's rendered permanently disabled. There's a difference there, and there's a difference between there's a difference between not asking questions and then being like just exploiting people that are mentally ill that don't need that. There's a difference, and like like the media don't ask questions. It's stupid that you're blacklisting people. It's bad for the sport, but there is a difference there.
and like, what point does some stuff just cross a line? Like, come on. I mean, like Senior. I mean, he doesn't look great, does he? He doesn't look great. I mean, he looked pretty skinny yesterday. I mean, he didn't really say much, did he? Like, even when they showed him in the corner, I mean, like 10 years ago when he was Eubank's trainer, I mean, he still didn't say much in some fights, but he would at least talk. I don't know. It was weird. Not great.
But yeah, the event's the event, and it is what it is. But I just hope it ends. I don't want to see a rematch. I'm fully expecting a rematch, but I don't want to.
Oh, there will be a rematch. Like, why wouldn't there be a rematch? Look, Eddie Hearn, you can fuck off. He's saying in the post-fight press conference he wants Eubank to come in even lighter. Like, what is wrong with you? He said maybe Eubank can come in a bit lighter this time. Like, you want to actually have it at the 157 catch weight? Like, is there something wrong with you? I was going to say, do you have any shame? Do you have any integrity? No, you don't, because... Yeah, no, you don't, because like we've seen over the past, how long's he been in boxing? Since like 2008? Nearly 20 years-ish. And we've seen you don't care. Like, do you not see like how much that weight that make him 160? They won't want him to come at 157, and it will also be a rehydration clause, like 10 pounds. I mean, yes, the IBF do a rehydration clause, but 160 is not 10 pounds. 160 is 12 pounds, and like 2 pounds might not seem like much, but it's a big difference when you're doing stuff like that. Like, this just playing with people's lives. Like, imagine he had to make take off 3 more pounds and had been in a fight like that, and he was in hospital after the fight as well.
You already seen him in the fight getting hurt every other round. Like, imagine he was even smaller, even weaker, even less durable.
Well, regarding the fight, I mean, I don't know. The fight just looked to me like you see like a veteran just fight like a young, inexperienced fighter. You could tell. Like, you saw Benn. I mean, he just does Benn, comes in winging everything at full power, full speed, and just Eubank just sticking the jab out and just picking his shots. Like, it's a bit like Eubank of old, where Eubank of old just threw 500 punch combinations because, well, he could. But he doesn't really do it anymore. He's kind of gotten a style. It's weird, Eubank with a style. Yeah, I guess what happens when you've been in the sport for as long as he has, and actually get a proper trainer, which he didn't have for ages.
Yeah.
Like he had a good first round, and then Benn came into it, but like he was always going to. I mean, he was always going to have some success early. Like, but I mean, I get the right hand. You could see that. Like, I mean, like Eubank was rolling the right hands, but he didn't really see the left hooks coming, and they're the ones that hurt him. Made his legs do the little funny dance. You can see, like, I mean, definitely got hurt in round 3. Got hurt in round 8, I think. Got hurt around 9. And possibly another round, maybe 11, I'm not sure. But, like, Eubank, I mean, he worked the body well. And, I mean, Benn got tired. And then Eubank got tired. Very tired.
Yeah, Eubank got tired, but then still threw about, what was it, like 300 plus punches in the last 3 rounds. Somehow.
Like,
no idea how he did that.
Like 1 to 7. Around 1 to 7 were fine. But then, like, 8 to 12 were really good. Pretty competitive rounds, even if I gave like most. What rounds did I give Benn? I think I gave him 2, 3, and 10. I think I had the exact same score as the AI judge. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
yeah, the AI judge isn't really that bad. It was bad at the start when they started doing like 4 even rounds of fight. It's not that bad.
Yeah, they programmed it in to stop being an indecisive MF.
But yeah, anybody saying this is fight of the year, just stop watching boxing. I'm not gonna lie. Please stop. Stop talking.
Like, it's up there, but that's more because
It's a weak start of the year.
it's not a great start of the year for like great fights.
It's very bleak.
There's a few, but that's not great. And that's coming from someone who has seen the list.
Well, there you go.
I'm not going to pretend. It could be some barn burner elite, but from multiple people that I trust with boxing, like not just the people that turn up twice a year for a stadium fight and think it's the best thing ever. Firstly, from those people that I trust and respect, it's not quite clearly it's not fight of the year, and Conor Benn will never be in a better fight than Artur Beterbiev or Kenshiro Taraji. Like, yeah, it's just not gonna happen.
He wouldn't even be in a better fight than Isaac Cruz and Fierro.
Yeah, like it's just not
Albert Battergazio. None of these people. I even lower.
There'll be some random 8-round Japanese fight in a couple months. That'll be 10 times better than that fight.
That's Ben's level, isn't it? He's an area / English level fighter, and that's what he is.
He needs to calm down because I think he needs to like revamp his style because he's fighting like his dad, but he doesn't have the physical attributes that his dad had. I guess you like have the toughness and the grit and the determination, but of course you're his son, but you don't have the power or the strength. I guess he has speed. I don't know if he's that good. He's fine. The problem is that they're saying like he's. I guess could he win a world title? Could he beat Mario Barrios?
Well, no, there might be a weight issue with him having to go down.
He can't go back down. Like I don't know. Like could he beat Mario Barrios?
He might have just ruined himself like that. So.
He can't beat Mario Barrios.
I'm sure he could, but that doesn't mean he would. Like, it's only Mario Barrios.
You ain't made welterweight in 3 years.
I don't know why he said that he's gonna go back down to 147. He's like, I'm gonna have this fight and then go back down to welterweight. Doesn't make any sense.
I hope he retires.
Like if you didn't get iced or you didn't ice him badly, there's obviously going to be a rematch. It's too much money for a rematch, and boxing has no integrity. People in the sport have no integrity and no shame. They only care about.
And there's another issue, and we've spoken about this for years, ages before we started this podcast, that there's a serious issue in the UK with development of talent and stars coming through, and especially when you're renting all your main events out to Saudi Arabia, you're going to have a vacuum, and that creates the opportunity for this type of fight. Like, yes, this fight was always big, but when you've got a starved market, it's a lot bigger. There wouldn't be a need to have this fight at all costs if, we had Joshua fighting 3 times a year here. We had Fury fighting 3 times a year here. We had sort of guys in headliners, Nick Ball fighting 3 times a year here in world title fights. sort of years ago, we had 4 or 5 versions of netball fighting 2 or 3 times a year in the UK. You know what I mean? There's a vacuum here, and everything's recycled. All these guys are mid-30s. Everything's recycled, and yeah, it's just I don't know with British boxing, man. I really don't know anymore. There's a lot of shameless people in British boxing, and a lot of people that genuinely just don't care about the sport, and it's a shame.
And like these same people, like they 5, 6 years ago, I mean, they did seem like they cared about the sport, and I'm gonna blame them, but also a certain somebody for this. It's not all his fault, but you know, he definitely hasn't helped.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like, look, what we need is if you're gonna have a rematch, 160, no rehydration clause. Look, if you're going up to someone's weight, don't add some stupid this shit on. Like, if you're gonna fight that weight, fight at that guy's weight. If you don't want to, if you're too small, then don't fight at that weight. Right? If he's too small to fight at 154 meet in the middle, you're too big to not have any restrictions, then don't fight. Like, they're telling you the fight's not meant to happen. Like, we don't care that your dad's had a rivalry back in the day. They were the same weight class. It's fine. They're also good, which helped.
Yep.
Yeah, well, shame it was a good fight, and shame that it was a massive event, and Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was fucking banging, roaring. Oh, the atmosphere was crazy. But you know, we love a night out. Once again, it's one of those fights where I see people on social media that I know don't watch boxing, but yeah, they'll watch this or they'll go to the fight.
Consume certain substances, drink certain liquids, you know, and then don't actually care about the sport. And like, it's
they'll go back to doing whatever they do, then they'll be back out again for the next AJ fight or something like that. Yeah, casuals. I mean, that's fine. They keep the sport afloat, I guess.
Yeah, like it needs casuals. Like the sport needs a casual market, but at the same time, like it's just a bit frustrating.
It's just funny when I see them. Like, you know, casuals are fine. It's just funny when I see it.
Yeah. Anyway, talking about recycled talent, key support again is the fights that I did actually watch. And the Yard against Lyndon Arthur. Yeah. I think Anthony Yard's done, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's got the gears that he once had. And I just think he was an athleticism based fighter. To begin with, he wasn't really based off skill. He was based off timing and speed and power. And I think that's starting to go. And he's now looking even more limited than he did before. I thought he won the fight, but just nicked it 7-5. But yeah, he really didn't look good. And Lyndon Arthur literally only has a jab, and that's what he's ever really had is a jab, and that won in 5 rounds.
A jab and an occasional right hand, but mostly a jab. Which, you know, I guess in a time when no one can defend the jab, gets you places. But the thing with like people who are like crazily athletic and they got physical gifts like Anthony Yard, like crazy power, explosiveness, speed. When they go and you haven't like properly learned boxing, it makes it look so much worse. Like people usually like they adapt their style when they lose some of that stuff when they get older and they age. But well, he can't because well, one, he hasn't learned it, and two, he has a donut training him in this corner, pretty much.
I know you're not talking bad on lions in the camp.
They're not lions now; they're bloody cats.
Kittens.
Yeah, kittens. There's a pet cat now. Yeah, stop that, lions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a tweet out during this fight. The Buatsi fight against Yard was so hot for so long. And they both messed about. And now what? Like, that's just a regular Saturday headline, and that could have been a pay-per-view fight.
Well, the problem is, it might still be big. Like it's brand. We love fights like that, but I mean, like, crazily popular though, are they? They're not like Eubank or a Benn or someone who supports like followed by a football team. I guess like Yard was in the Batavia fight. That was pretty big, but nothing crazy. Yeah, it's a shame. Not surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, they do all the time. You just leave a fight, leave a fight, leave a fight, leave a fight until it's either not there or it's just a diminished version of what we could have got like 4 years prior.
You know, there was first discussions about that fight in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it will be good because, well, I mean, I can't really do what he usually does, so we have to fight on the inside. And, well, he's not very smart on the inside. He did a what's his face? Charles Conwell. Fought way too close. Like, just look at fights of people fighting on the inside. Like Chocolatilla versus Estrada or Leonard versus Durant 1. I mean, you can see it. It's head to head. Give yourself some space. Like, just because just because you're up close and he can't do anything, that doesn't mean that's good for you. He couldn't really get anything going. It was just kind of throwing. I don't really know what he was doing. He was just throwing and outlanding, outworking Lindenhofer in that second half of the fight. Yeah. That's pretty much what won him the fight was just better stamina than Lindenhofer, which isn't hard because all he throws is a jab, an occasional right hand.
Yeah. Another recycled fighter on this undercard is what I'm going to say. Liam Smith, it's finally over. In fairness to Smith, I think he's one of these guys that maximizes ability. He made as much money as he possibly could out of the sport. Got to the highest level he possibly could in the sport, but it's just been over, and it's been over for a while. And yeah, McKenna, I don't think is great because I think quite a good fighter would have stopped Liam Smith here. He was right there for the taking, but McKenna's just okay. But he's just young, strong, fit, and Smith just doesn't have it anymore. And I think Smith should finish, but you know, he probably won't.
I mean, McKenna looked good, even if he wasn't there against the corpse of Liam Smith. You know, Liam Smith, he was actually good British fighter. Like, he deserved to be at world level. And lots of British fighters, they just stick at world level who aren't anywhere near that level. And now, yeah, I mean, he didn't look good. He couldn't really pull the trigger, could he? Like, he just looked clueless. But the first couple rounds, you thought, I don't know, he kind of starts a bit slow. But then, as the rounds kept going, it just got worse and worse and worse. McKenna looked good. I don't know what level McKenna's at, considering their opponent in front of him, but I mean, he performed as well as he could have without stopping him. I don't think I'm gonna like be as harsh without stop Liam Smith. Liam Smith's tough, but I guess he could have.
I just think if you put a Hamza Shiraz in there, he stopped Liam Smith. If you put I don't know. It's hard. It's difficult because it is middleweight, and middleweight is awful. If you put, say, Callum Simpson in there, say, shrink Callum Simpson down to a middleweight frame, I think he stops him. I think those sorts of level of fighters do stop that version of Liam Smith. That version of Liam Smith was like just totally done. And like, yeah, McKenna did what he had to do. He won clearly, won every round. But like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I just think if you're going to really achieve something in those sorts of fights, you need to be stopping those types of guys that are just done. Who's just finished.
Well, for what it's worth, I thought he looked good.
But it is middleweight, so yeah, like you know, he can go for a world title next. But yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I guess
don't know.
a win over whatever Liam Smith can get you places at this division.
Yeah.
And that's a big experience. Find someone like Liam Smith and getting 12 rounds against Liam Smith.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like different 12 rounds because it's kind of like a sparring session, really, where you tell the guy not to do anything. Have I just called Liam Smith a heavy bag?
Yes.
I might have. Well,
Yeah, he was done.
like
The
if
Warner's with
shoe
pulled
fits,
out.
yeah. I mean, well, at least the good thing is, I think like Liam Smith seems like the type of fighter who will know and probably knows it's time to retire and won't just hang on. Hopefully.
I don't trust anyone to retire on time though, especially not with British boxing. Josh Roman's back, Nick Connor's back, Lee Wood's
Yeah,
still
but
hanging
they're
back.
both idiots. I mean, Liam Smith might be an idiot as well. He probably is, but I mean, I think he knows. He would know more. Like I trust him more than Michael Conor or Josh Warrington.
Yeah,
He's been and like he's made more money than like them as well, and he's achieved more or better wins. So it makes more sense that they would want to cut back.
there's always more money though. And some of the like just the state of some of these headliners in the UK. Like, I don't know. Would you watch sort of Liam Smith, Denzel Bentley because people would?
Well, I mean, I would watch anything because I'm
Yeah,
disgrace.
but that's like there's fights there. Unfortunately, there's fights there. But he
Yeah,
should
but
retire.
would he get a lot of money for a Denzel Bentley fight? Probably not.
300-400 grand, and that's a house in Liverpool, an extra rental house for him. I don't know. I can just see stuff like that happening. Like
A
he's a
house in
name.
who wants to live in Liverpool?
Well, not live there, but have a rental there. You know, that's like a couple of those for him. But yeah, I can see it happening. I can just see him coming back. Like, oh yeah, like the Eubank trilogy. You know, like it's just that type of thing. It's just gimmick fights, and it's just Anyway,
look, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank have a rematch. I don't know. Conor Benn loses, and then he fights Liam Smith at 154 or 157. 157 could be the catch weight.
What's that?
Look, you tell me that you can't see that happening.
I don't want to see it.
No, he's ringside.
It's stupid.
Lots of people.
Yeah, but you know who's ringside that's had a bit of back and forth with Ben before? Kell Brooks there.
Oh yeah, Kell Brooks said.
He needs to pay for that, babe.
Kell Brooks said he'd beat both of them, and I don't know. I don't want to see him fight.
It's just it's depressing, but that's just the state of British boxing right now, isn't it? That just is what British boxing is right now. That we even have to discuss these types of like nonsense fights. That's just British boxing. Yeah. We'll go down one fight now. Chev Clark, Vidal Riley. Vidal Riley boxed well, but I think didn't overexert himself against a pretty terrible Chevron Clark.
Well, like, I mean, it's kind of like how Vidal Riley fights, so I didn't expect anything. Like, he fought great in his style. Won like every round. Somehow the cards were close. I don't know how. I imagine he didn't dominate that fight. He would have lost. Crazy. Like, someone giving Chev Clark 5 rounds is so bad, it overshadowed someone giving him 4 rounds, which is also terrible.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, you just had someone who, well, I mean, I don't really know what his game plan was. Does Chev Clark ever really have a game plan? Not really. Just go in there and try and knock him out. Well, he tried. He could only got outboxed by someone. Bad jab, bare feet. And it was like we said, it was, can he do it for 12 rounds?
Yeah.
He can. And he did. Pretty easily as well. First gear, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, maybe just like inched into second gear every now and then. But it was very easy against a poor Chev Clark. But that's probably down to Vidal Riley. So, yeah.
For Clark, I think he can be a fun undercard fighter if you match him with guys that are going to stand in front of him and have it out. And I think that's what they should do now. Make the Apochi rematch. That was a great fight. Just do that.
Yeah, that's probably
and for
what
Vidal Riley,
set him off to be so bad. Him getting punched on by a Poochie.
yeah. But for Vidal Riley, it's good that he's finally had some momentum. And, he had a lot of meaningless fights. Hi, Ben. Hope you well. But yeah. Hopefully he kicks on now because he's 27, 28? And there's guys at British and Commonwealth sort of British and European level that are good fights. Like even someone like an Eason Garber if you really want to take that risk. But there's good guys. The Mosquea, the French kid that beat Chev Clark, maybe make that fight next. I don't know. But yeah, there's enough fights. There's enough fights for him. Hopefully he moves on quickly because he really didn't have to do that much in that fight. If I'm being honest, he just
The most he had to do was the last 30 seconds of the fight, just because he just didn't really care at that point. So he was just like, "Fuck it, let me trade."
Yeah, won a very, very easy decision. And the opening fight on the card, which was the best fight on the card that I saw, Liam Smith beats Brandon Glanton via UD. I'm not gonna lie. Through sort of the first 5 rounds, I thought Smith was gonna get stopped, but my God, he's got grit for days, man. He's gritty. He's tough. He's strong. He's just physically a monster, isn't he?
And Glanton is pitiful.
Yeah, I think Lanton's control of distance sort of lost in that fight a bit. I think he smothered his work a lot, and I think
Those last 4 rounds were hard to watch from him.
Yeah,
from his side, that was disgusting.
Well, just a bit of inexperience. I mean, Chris Smith, he's been in so many tough fights, much higher level, and he wore the storm early. I mean, like Benn Smith was working the body well in those early rounds, and I think that definitely helped slow climbing down, like we saw in the second half. And then he took over and won basically every round from then on.
yeah. I think it was
Like,
8th. I think.
Something like that. I think all scorecards were 8-4.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. It's just every time he does it. I mean, there was lots of people like picking him to lose this fight because of like all the wars he's been in, and like Connor's been in some wars, but I mean he's much fresher. But he just continues to do it. I don't know the odds. I don't know if he was a favorite or underdog. You're an odd guy.
I think Benn Smith opened as a quite big favourite, and then Glanton got back in, and they were both. It was a pick 'em fight by the time it started. So yeah, it was.
And touching on a subject that was talked about last night, Chris Benn Smith's great, and I emphasize great, conditioning.
Yep.
Someone saying Benn Smith's conditioning is bad. Look, just because someone looks tired, look, he's just one of those guys who looks tired. It doesn't matter what he does. As soon as he starts anything that requires him to do something, he's going to look exhausted, but he's not actually exhausted. He just looks exhausted.
It's because he's got full balance.
Yeah, it does make it look worse. He's so gainly and awkward, and his footwork's not great. Balance isn't great.
He's also just a big individual. Period.
Yeah. He is big. I mean, he looked like Glanton's big himself, and Chris Benn Smith looked like much bigger in there. Yeah, it's just what he does. Toughs it out. Because, you can't have bad conditioning. Well, one, throwing the amount of punches he does. 2, in the fights that he has. And 3, taking the punishment he has. Taking punches well is a form of good conditioning. If he didn't have good conditioning, he'd have been knocked out about 500 times by now.
Yeah.
He's taking some big shots, man.
He does, and it's not good, but I mean, hopefully he doesn't fight on for too long. I don't know how old he is.
He's 34, 35, something like that.
Well, I mean, he hasn't had
He's 34.
Loads of fights, I guess, but he has loads of tough fights, and he does take punches flush as well.
I mean,
he's not. He doesn't seem like one of those type of guys who rolls with punches, but maybe because his footwork is all over the place and his balance is all over the place, he's falling everywhere. He kind of rolls with punches that he doesn't mean to roll with. Who knows? The CBS train keeps rolling on.
I think that was sort of I think they're targeting Baddy Jack, and I think whoever comes out of that mess with the WBC title, Baddy Jack's in there. He's fighting Nalgeva or Mikhalian or whatever name he wants to call himself this week. And then you got Sislak against John Pascal. The interim title, John Pascal back in the mix in 2025. But yeah, whoever sort of comes out of that mix, I think Benn and Smith will end up with a fight against one of them for
Well,
WBC
I don't.
title.
I mean, I don't mind the
Yeah, it's good.
Badu Jack fight is. Well, that's fine. That's a winnable fight. Depending on how he looks against Givor. I've always called him Givor. That's what I'm gonna stick to. But I mean, it's gonna be a really interesting fight because they both start slow. I say start slow. I mean, Badu Jack does nothing for the first half of fights. Our second half, we'll just stick it in the list.
Yeah.
Pretty much because Badu Jack just gets going in the second half for loads of punches. And well, we know what Chris Benn Smith does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's if he's not completely washed. He hasn't fought in ages and he's 500 years old.
And he's a super middleweight, really.
Yeah.
Fight heavyweight. That's the one thing in that fight, like you didn't really see it with Makabu because Makabu's quite a short, stocky cruiserweight.
Yeah, Makabu's not
With
that
Benn
big.
and Smith, man. Like,
Benn Smith is massive.
yeah. I
Like,
think.
he's like, Badu Jack's getting through, I guess, a cruiserweight on his skill.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Well,
he's
is he though?
40.
Because look,
Well,
man.
yeah. Technically,
We'll have
because
this
he was
discussion.
killed in Makabu. Well, that's not very
We'll have this
hard.
discussion next week or on Wednesday. But was Makabu just totally washed?
Well, he's just never been that great.
Yeah. And then Noel Gever goes and stops him in like 2 rounds.
Well,
Like,
I
was he
guess
totally
it all
washed?
depends. Well,
Yeah, like
maybe not.
it's a
Maybe not
discussion,
totally
but
washed, but definitely not 2016 Makabu. I don't know why I'm saying 2016 Makabu. That just hypes up Tony Bellew.
Big Tony.
Oh yeah. Speaking
Yeah.
of Tony Bellew, he's annoying, of course. I don't know if you heard his like commentary and stuff. You didn't watch the fight, of course. You didn't hear his commentary. Oh, everyone else is like, oh yeah, I have Eubank ahead, and he's just like, yep, I got Ben ahead. He's landing the harder shots. Commentary was so bad,
Common sense.
very very bad.
Also,
His own
no,
commentary. It was Adam Smith. Yeah, Adam Smith, Darren Barker, and Barry Jones. Barry Jones is good, but he has like a habit of like getting caught up with like the other commentators. They did have Eubank winning, but like they spent most of the time just ignoring everything Eubank done and like, oh, he's landed a big punch, even though he hasn't landed a big punch because Eubank's made him miss.
Sports broadcasting in general is a mess, and I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why because I was watching it on Sky. In between rounds of a Aaron McKenna fight. Yeah. Why do I need instead of playing just a corner audio or maybe showing a few replays? Maybe I don't know. Interviewing someone ringside that is watching a fight, a celebrity or like a boxing guy ringside, like a former fighter or promoter. Why do I need to hear Anthony Yard in an interview in Fight Week during a fight, during a round, explaining to Andy Scott how to say lines in the camp during a fight?
Oh,
and they missed about 5 or 10 seconds in the next round because they were still playing the clip.
Yeah, they played that on the zone as well.
Why do I need to see that? Like, do what you want in between fights, but like in the middle of a round, like in between rounds when like Smith's just been cut and like he's getting battered and like, are they going to put him out? Are they not? Is he really up for this? Oh no, let's go to lines in the camp.
But they're just hyping up
sports
the.
broadcasting. And it's the
They're
same
just
in football, it's the same in cricket, it's the same in rugby, it's the same in snooker, it's the same in everything. Every sport is going down this influence of nonsense road of just have a little bit of professionalism and show the bits that people want to see. I sound like I'm so old, man. I feel really old because I don't know. I don't know about what's a speed. What like I sound like I'm so old, but like what is going on in this? You know what I mean? What's happening? But yeah,
Well,
just
unfortunately, I know who he is. I don't look like they can't think of anything better to like hype up the next fight or that's happening by doing that. Right, nothing. Just yeah. This is how you say lions in the camp. Lions in the camp.
that just
Well,
sounds like a
what about the stupid gimmick ring card people?
Well, they look alike, sort of, the actual people.
They were lookalikes. They had
That's what I thought.
they had Ed Sheeran, they had Anthony Joshua, and I've forgotten the rest of them, but they had
David
those two.
Beckham.
They had David Beckham. What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh. Oh, boxing. What a stupid sport.
What about the fighters? Like they're trying to beat someone up, and then it's just hey, Ed Sheeran just walked past you, but it's not actually Ed Sheeran.
We wish him well.
I don't wish anyone well. Anyone on this card, I don't wish well, except Chris Smith.
Yeah. What a mess. what a mess, man. But yeah, boxing rolls on. We'll be back on Wednesday for
Unfortunately, boxing rolls on. Although actually, it's a good week. This is a proper boxing week rather than is it really though?
like,
Kind of.
yeah,
I mean, they're not.
is.
I mean, like Ryan versus Rowley, Haney versus Ramirez, Canelo versus Skull. That's not great. Anyway versus
Inouye's fighting as well.
Cardenas.
Espinosa against Vasquez is a good fight.
Well, that's good.
Blanco against Maidana.
Tio versus Barboza is a good fight.
And you're missing something.
I probably am.
You're missing the fight of the week. The fight of the year, even.
Is it a bloody Bridgerweight fight?
Kevin Lorena against Radenko for the WBC Bridgerweight title is this Thursday in Pretoria. We will be there.
Got to respect Lorena. He unofficially has a win against Daniel Dubois.
And cruiserweight legend Tabitha Latunu's on the undercard. Heavyweight legend Chris Thompson, who got poured by Sold Acres, is on the undercard. This is the event of the year. Talangi and Benge, who just won the IBO title against Michael McKinson, is on. Oh my god! I want to do an episode just for this.
Speaking of boxing, there is the Paris Arrow card should have started. I think
the IBA card, yeah, that's on now.
Yeah, I think it's on boxing news.
We might mention that, we might not, but depends.
Anyway, it's a good fight.
It is a good fight, actually. It is a good fight. Yeah,
list. We need some list.
We need some list. But yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday to preview this weekend. There's a lot of boxing this weekend. Yeah. Sorry if I moaned a bit too much in this episode, but it is what it is. I had to get that out, man. I've been depressed about the sport all week. But yeah, this week should be good. But yeah, thank you for listening.
See you in episode 52.